Just save with the Groupon app on your phone. There's nothing to print out, which is great because I'm the type that if I can save on it, I'll do it. Paint class? Yes. French cooking class? Oui, oui. Brazilian steakhouse? Let's get the meat sweats. Hot yoga? Love it. The only thing I won't do is pay full price for what I do every day. Download the app and save. Groupon.
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
I took a bit of a risk singing that song, but of course the one place I never take chances is the road, where Progressive Snapshot rewards your safe driving. A good driver plus Snapshot equals big discounts. And speaking of math, 1 + 1 = 2, little too late.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
A couple of women in Wisconsin found a stranger in their home, cuddling with their 150-pound Mastiff. WGDay TV's Brittany Lewis from Waukesha.
Elise Diskerud and Lynn Sarver could not believe what was with Doug Benton in his bed in the same room as them.
So we were just sleeping on the couch. She woke up. She saw someone laying on the dog bed. We thought it was her son, who's 21, because they were around the same age.
When they realized it wasn't,
a stranger walked in our house while we were sleeping.
They called police.
And they woke him up, and he was cooperative and apologetic.
When asked by police if they wanted to press charges,
he didn't do anything wrong, really, other than go in the wrong house.
Police say the man was drunk. Kanye West is affirming his love for President Trump. His first tweet of 2019, Trump all day. From now on, he promises he's rapping with his MAGA hat on. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. Now,
Pratt Land and Development filed a lawsuit against the city council after what it calls illegal zoning that made its property unusable. The lawsuit names specifically Chip Henderson, accusing him and other defendants of grossly overstepping their authority. They demand that the zoning be reset to where it was before. Authorities say Edward J. McCone, a former Catholic priest assigned to the Chattanooga area, died in prison. He reportedly had a pattern of abuse involving as many as 30 boys over many years, starting in the 1970s. He served various parishes around the state, including Chattanooga and Nashville. The Chattanooga Police Department's increased patrols end today as the holiday season comes to a close. The CPD, along with the THP, were present in force on our roadways for the holiday season. Part of the reason for that is October was one of the deadliest months ever for Chattanooga drivers. Russell Stroud, Chattanooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News, now.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
I went whitewater rafting a few years back, and man, it was fun. This is Bruce Dodd with People's Home Equity, a mortgage company right here in Chattanooga. The water was up that day, and the rapids were pretty challenging. Our guide had traveled the river hundreds of times before and knew exactly where to go and how to approach each rapid. I learned that it's important to know when to paddle, when to coast, and that communication is vital. The mortgage world has become a lot like a whitewater trip. We do mortgages all day, every day. Your mortgage is our priority. If you're looking to move this year, then get the pre-qualification process started with professionals who can help you navigate the mortgage industry. We know when to paddle and when to coast. If you're ready to move, call us at People's Home Equity, 423-591-9801.
People's Home Equity is still closing loans in less than 30 days. Call them now to get pre-qualified. 423-591-9801. 423-591-9801. Call for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. This is not a commitment to lend. NMLS number 66247. Tennessee number 117278136. Georgia number 16020. Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee. Equal housing lender.
This is Ghost Rider requesting a flyby.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
No, ma'am. This is not a good idea. Sorry, Goose, but it's time to buzz the tower.
Generally, as a when you think funky, but he could certainly bring it. And the interesting thing is the tie I will make to a song that we'll use going out of this little break and into the first commercial break of this hour of the show. There is a link. I didn't know all the time I was growing up, and both of these songs go back to the mid to late 70s. A simpler time, a funkier time. And you definitely wouldn't have put these two artists together, just like most people wouldn't recognize this one. That you probably won't recognize the next one either, even though you probably have the album. But the guitar work, you know, I had to really pay attention. The show brought to you by People's Home Equity. And when you think funk, I always think of Bruce Dodd at People's Home Equity. I mean, he's like Don Cornelius from Soul Train. I mean, just cool, chill, laid back to the point of falling over. I guess if you do mortgages all day, you really can't stress up too much. And personally, it would kill me dead. But that's what they love to do at People's Home Equity. And so if you're in the housing market, got to have a mortgage. Go to chatmortgage.com, 2 T's, just like we normally abbreviate Chattanooga. Chatmortgage.com, NMLS 66247. Thank you very much. So, all right, I just want to make sure. Jeff Styles, my name, host of the show. You're not like a huge Journey fan. I didn't make you mad or anything.
No, God,
okay,
no.
Last thing, what I want to do.
I know the popular Journey songs, but
well,
as far as going and spending money to see them live,
there'd be a lot of people who would. There right now.
Well, they don't have to worry about me occupying their seat.
Here's some of those challenge coins. I just brought them back in from the car. Oh. That one's from the RMJ Tactical people who make the Tomahawk that you can get in trouble with if you're not careful. This is the Admiral of the Pacific Fleet. This is, let's see, who do I have here? The commanding officer of the USS Tennessee, nuclear sub. Yeah, that's bad. And I mean, the artwork that goes into these things are amazing. This is the NATO head right here. And it's cool, trident and everything. And here's Arlie Ermey's. Sponsored by Glock, by the way. Arlie Ermey from Full Metal Jacket and other things. We were talking about him last week, and I mentioned the fact I just had a bunch of these challenge coins around it.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, sometimes it's not always just like top ranking things. Sometimes you pull up one that's just cooler than the other ones. And so, you know, the people will give it up to you. Now, when you work around people who have done very well in the military, you can't beat them. Mm-mm. They'll pull out the, you know, Department of Defense, you know, cabinet level, boom, 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 you know, it's, you know, that's, you're done then. It's all over. By the way, the Rose Bowl parade we mentioned, Shaka Khan being the Grand Marshal and the one float that sort of went up in flames for a little bit, freaked everybody out. And I was worried on my podcast at fredpodcast.com. I mentioned the fact that I was a little bit nervous about New Year's Eve this year, just given the whacked out nature of our world today. But for the most part, it was okay. And, you know, as you watched it sweep across the globe as the time change occurred and all this stuff, there were a couple of incidents. There was a German guy drove a truck into a bunch of people, and some other people, you know, just wigged out and got in fights and stuff. But watching the Rose Bowl parade, when the stealth fighter did the flyover,
that was my actually,
man,
backed it up and watched it again because it's probably one of the coolest things you'll see.
I mean, well, it is. I mean, anytime you're dealing with something that moves at, you know, hypersonic sound. Now they were clearly not wanting to, you know, break the sound barrier above the parade and have people thinking, you know, that they were under attack. So that still was not, that wasn't anything close to what it'll do. I think it'll do Mach 5, if I'm not mistaken.
The move.
I mean, literally, you hear it and then look up and you barely see it as it moves off into the distance. You might, if your eyes are sharp, you might catch it. And I just think, you know, we're smart. The human beings, we can be so smart.
Mm-hmm.
We can do such cool stuff, but we tend not to. Our big old brains that God gave us just get us in trouble all the time. And the design of that thing, Northrop Grumman, I mean, Lord knows.
There you go. There's your answer.
I mean, Lord knows how much money they have squandered over the years, and you know, just
constant
44 billion since the inception.
Yeah.
And the space.
You don't want to lose one.
No.
Don't want to lose one.
628 mile an hour.
The fact is I mean, again, you look. There's no ailerons. There's no tail.
It's like a flying boomerang.
It's a frisbee.
Yeah.
It's a frisbee that doesn't spin, and somehow it just. I mean, of course, it's got the absorbent, sonar, radar, absorbent material, and now we've got bombers, we got fighters, and the Chinese launched the submarine that we've probably already got. And I don't know if y'all saw the story about the NASA, being a big fan of the space program, of course, over the years. They had a huge day on New Year's Day. The New Horizons spacecraft pulled off what has, up till now, I guess this is the most distant exploration of another world. It skimmed past this little tiny, icy thing 4 billion miles from planet Earth. Seems to be shaped somewhat like a bowling pin. And it has a name. Let me see if I can find it. Ultima Thule. Well, that sounds like a bad guy in an Avengers movie. And when Thanos is done, Ultima Thule will show up, and it'll be even worse.
Like playing a video game and having to beat the boss.
10 hours after this, they steered it to come within whatever many miles, millions of miles, it's a close flyby. And this thing is a billion miles past Pluto. And that just blows my mind. So a half hour into the new year, 3 years after it was launched, and it was designed to go past Pluto, but they keep making these little things that work. I think we finally just lost the Mars rover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just recently. And it was only supposed to work for a few days. It just kept on going and kept on going and kept on going.
Energizer.
Well, Energizer Bunny. And this thing, it was a close pass, 2,200 miles.
Now,
2,200 miles within this object.
Now,
So-
I don't know if you have it in your article there, but they fired the engines, I don't know how many years back
To make
this
the
work.
adjustment?
Yeah.
3
years back, was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing, we're talking about when we had
And who says algebra and geometry doesn't matter?
we're not dead on the actual real anniversary of the moon landing, but because of the release of First Man, the movie this summer, I talked to a friend of mine, and he was one of the original hang glider pilots. I don't mean in this area, I mean one of the original hang glider pilots in the world. I mean, the sport's not been around that long. And his name is Tracy Knaus, and he came here, and he was on the East Coast. People would go to Kitty Hawk and Kill Devil Hills, and out on the West Coast, they were flying at Torrey Pines, where they have one of the big golf tournaments out there, just because you have that steady ocean breeze. And Tracy was one of the first Tennessee tree toppers, which is, I live right near the property that club owns. And he's a kind of a Renaissance guy, and he's really hugely into the space program. And talked to him, and he was talking about when you actually go back and look and listen to the film of the Apollo 11, moon landing, and Neil Armstrong and that whole thing. We had no idea. It seemed to come off so easily. It seemed to be flawless, but it was so not. We really didn't have any idea what that surface was going to be like. I mean, there were many scientists at NASA who felt like that the module might just sink literally into lunar dust, 14, 20 feet down. And so the little landing pads, the little legs, actually had extended antenna on them. So when it made contact with the lunar dust, if it just kept going with no resistance, well, then they would be prepared for something other than what happened. And you actually hear the countdown, and you think, and Neil Armstrong took the controls. It was on, autopilot. And it was, the computer, which, by the way, your smartphone has more computerized, technology and more memory and more capability in it than the entire NASA program did back then. That's not a lie. It's not an exaggeration. It truly does. But the countdown that you hear is not how many seconds it is till touchdown. It's how many seconds they have left where he actually has rockets with fuel. And it gets down to, I think, about 1.5.
Waiting their return.
And at that point, so you see the little thing sticking down below the feet? Let it go for a second.
The near side of the moon.
Yeah, there they are.
Collins in Columbia continued in orbit, awaiting their return.
Well, when they count him down, that's letting him know how much fuel he has left, and he uses every single bit of it and sets that thing down by hand.
Okay, all flight controllers, gonna go for landing. Retro, go. Fido, go. Guidance, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. GNC, go. Ecom, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200. Houston, you're go for landing, over. Roger, understand, go for landing. 3,000 feet. You're looking great.
See, they had it programmed in. It was going to go
control.
over that rock. It was going to hit that boulder.
Telcom, go. Guidance, you happy? Go. Fido, go.
That's the reason they had to take the control.
2,000 feet. Into the ag, 47 degrees. Roger.
The Sea of Tranquility was not a very tranquil
Still looking very good. Your go.
No. When they got closer and closer to it, they realized this is a messed up
1201.
place.
1201. Roger,
There's
1201
lots of potential screw-ups here. We could be looking like the Georgia Bulldogs in the
1600.
2019 Sugar Bowl.
Roger, 1202. We copy it. 35 degrees. 750. Coming down to 23.
Yeah, you can hear him talking about the fuel there.
Listen to
540 feet and it's 15.
That's a fast descent.
1050 feet down at 4. Altitude, velocity, light. 3.5 down. 220 feet. 11 forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. 100 feet. 3.5 down. 9 forward.
That's the thing they were trying to avoid.
75 feet. Guys looking good. Down a half.
Looks like a face, doesn't it?
6 forward. 60 seconds. Lights on.
That's the 60 seconds
forward.
is how much fuel he
Forward.
had.
40 feet down. 2.5.
That wasn't a
Picking up
countdown,
some
a touchdown.
Straight shadow. 4 forward. Drift into the right a little. 30 seconds forward.
30 seconds left. And
Contact
they would
light.
just plummet.
Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle.
And everything was
Listen,
okay. And Armstrong, to
Tranquility
the day
Base here.
he died,
The Eagle has landed.
said that he thought he actually put the little participle in there. This is a giant step for man. He said he actually did say for a man. And everybody kept playing back, goes, no, you didn't, dude. No, you didn't, dude. And you didn't say it. So he goes, I screwed it up. It took him about 2 or 3 years. I screwed it up. I had the thing in my head, and I didn't mean, I just was going to say a tiny step for just a guy and a huge step for mankind. And instead, it kind of came off sort of ponderous and maybe a little bit overly self-important, which he was certainly not. He was one of the dullest of the, right stuff guys. It's one of the reasons I think they gave him the job. All right, so the music you heard coming into this break on this funky-ass hump day version of Fred the Show was Frank Zappa. And that was the title track to, I guess, his best-selling album ever, Apostrophe. And I was just listening to Bluetooth this summer, and I clicked it over and I went to Stevie Wonder, and it was Songs in the Key of Life. And I was listening to this instrumental cut called Contusion. And I said, man, they sound so similar. And I finally, when I got back home, I looked it up, and sure enough, it has special thanks to FZ at the tail end of the credits of that song. And Frank and Stevie got together. The 70s rock.
I'm the dude, that or his dudeness, Duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. 3, 2, 1. Chatter, Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news. now.
Pratt Land and Development filed a lawsuit against the city council after what it calls illegal zoning that made its property unusable. The lawsuit names specifically Chip Henderson, accusing him and other defendants of grossly overstepping their authority. They demand that the zoning be reset to where it was before. Authorities say Edward J. McCone, a former Catholic priest assigned to the Chattanooga area, died in prison. He reportedly had a pattern of abuse involving as many as 30 boys over many years, starting in the 1970s. He served various parishes around the state, including Chattanooga and Nashville. The Chattanooga Police Department's increased patrols end today as the holiday season comes to a close. The CPD, along with the THP, were present in force on our roadways for the holiday season. Part of the reason for that is October was one of the deadliest months ever for Chattanooga drivers. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
As a small business owner, you know that running a business is no easy task. You're in the office and on your third cup of coffee before most even roll out of bed. That's why you need office equipment and solutions that help keep your business running smoothly. The experts at RJ Young provide office technology that ensures your business's network stays efficient and secure, so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. To discover how RJ Young can help your small business grow, visit rjyoung.com/smallbusiness.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
The first responders, these are the men and women who put themselves in harm's way for us. And here at Nooga Radio, we want to do our part to say thank you. On Nooga Radio, every Friday is First Responder Friday. We'll honor a first responder with a thank you gift from Nooga Radio's community partners. If there's a first responder you'd like us to honor, go to NoogaRadio.com and submit your nomination. First Responder Friday, sponsored by Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, the Mad Philly Sandwich Shop, Newark Pizza Department, and Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Have a car wreck in Tennessee? Why hire an Alabama billboard lawyer for your car wreck? You'll never, ever meet that guy. Warren and Griffin work here, live here. You get to know them. You have a car wreck? Call Warren and Griffin. 265-4878, 265-4878. And let me tell you, they've got a killer thing going on right now, the Hands-Free Tennessee petition to save lives and make our roads safer. Put down your cell phones and just drive.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What? English, do you speak it? Yes. Then you know what I'm saying. Yes. What? Say what again?
Nooga Radio.
It's supposed to be ugly and sweaty. We talked about this last week. It's supposed to be ugly and sweaty. It's not necessarily supposed to be danceful. Sometimes this Little Feat, one of the funkiest songs ever recorded. A Spanish movement, the Lowell George version of Little Feat. And I mean, what makes funk, right? I was the drums and bass, but the keyboards. Listen to the keyboards on this thing. Listen to what all was happening on the different tracks here. There's a ton of things happening. The power horn is hurt. Rock and roll. Little Feat. Hey, Donna Christian Lowe, chair of the Midday Show, follows me, Fred the Show, me and Argonaut here, the rest of the crew, and she's got Marcus from Collab coming in later today. An interesting role that they play here in our town, and a larger role. And I think they may actually be coming in for a couple of days. I'm not sure. I know they're coming in today, for sure. Jeff Styles, spelled with the Y. I love that, don't you? And if the
whiskey and bad cocaine. Poison gets you just the same. And if that don't kill you, the woman will at the Spanish Moon.
Sounds about right.
Kill you soon. That was a great loss, no, George. Nooga Radio. Nooga Radio is what you're listening to. Studio line is open, 800-8949. So 2018 has left the building. And personally, I thought the year just really sucked. And, but you might think otherwise. So I was saying toast and roast it on Monday. I think we'll go with let it linger or give it the finger. If you would like to join us and tell you what kind of year did you have, 800-8949 studio line is open. You can listen to us at 92.7 FM. You can listen to us on the streaming audio app that we have. You can check it out on Facebook Live. We're basically, if there's a live microphone in here, we're Facebooking Live.
As one of the liners say, the station heard everywhere.
Everywhere?
Everywhere.
You think they're hearing it out on what's the name of the planet?
Pluto?
No, the Thule, Ultima Thule.
Hey, if there's a Wi-Fi connection, yes.
I think actually, how long did it take for that signal to get back?
A couple, 3 hours, wasn't it?
I think it was 3.5 hours. Yeah. I mean, the signal, the information that was sent from that massive distance, it took them that long to get it back. So, I mean, if you had to do like Neil Armstrong and take the controls, you'd be screwed, blued, and tattooed, man.
It'd be done.
Have you let's just radio talk, in-house radio talk here for a second. Every talk radio station, most every radio station, but the music stations don't have to because they pre-record everything they do anyway. The songs are pre-recorded and they do their drops pre-recorded, and they're not going to be anybody getting live on the air on the phones. It's all, edited out. But, we take calls live. TV stations have learned, thank you, Janet Jackson, that they needed a delay as well. Now, we have a very prominent delay. How long is the delay that we actually use here?
8 seconds on the audio side. So if someone's to call in, or if you or myself was to say something very inappropriate,
which I will do, you understand that
we've got the big red button, of doom.
And I just said, have you ever been in a situation where you have been talking and suddenly something goes wrong inside the HAL 9002 Antichrist supercomputer here, and you start hearing the actual broadcast instead of the live program? So you're hearing the delay and your mic is open and you have to continue talking, but then you hear what you're saying 7 seconds or 8 seconds later.
We haven't had that one yet.
You will at some point. And if you don't want to do, lysergic Gerber or, any kind of hallucinogenic drug, I would just suggest go straight to that, because it will freak your brain out.
Now,
and it takes a tremendous amount of concentration to continue to talk in anything approaching a sensible way when you're hearing yourself that much longer later.
Now, I will say, though, for our live remotes, we've got over here beside you, we've got a stereo receiver that we can pick up. And I've laid my headphones over there where you're standing, and I've heard that delay. So similar, yes, because I've been all sorts of computers.
Water will come to your eyes, and it's just bizarre. It's just surreal. It really is. So,
you hear something come through, and you're like, where'd that come from? Because I didn't hear that over here.
Next time Russell comes in all hungover, just hook him up with that. see how he handles
Wire the board really quick so it comes through there.
All right, happy funky ass hump day to you. And glad to have 2018 gone. Personally, you may think otherwise, but that's neither here nor there. So we'd touch on just a couple of other news stories. There was a big write-up in Saturday's paper. I did not ever get to it on Monday. Thank you for letting me have that day off. That was nice. On Bob Corker's career. And I've described both Zach Wamp and I did not get along when I was first doing talk radio. And he ran the first time against Marilyn Lloyd, and at the very last minute, Congresswoman Lloyd did something that was extremely against her normal nature, and she put out a mugshot of young Zachariah when he was back in college, and it was he got arrested for just bounced checks or something like that, and it ended up he lost, and it was like somebody I think reminded her that if she stayed one more 2-year term, then she actually would see a huge increase in her benefits. And I thought she was a very good representative. Zach and I didn't get along all that well at first, and I called his supporters Womp Davidians. I mean, they had this faraway stare in their eyes, like they'd been brainwashed. And he was hardcore now, and I was hardcore coming back at him. And then we developed a relationship and became friends, and went to DC and hung out with him. And he was a great host as we made our ways through the corridors of power and little secret hideaways and things. I remember we were having lunch at Bull Feathers for folks from the DC area, you know where Bull Feathers is. And he got a little beep on his beeper that they were about to have a vote. And he took it so serious. He took off running. I don't mean walking fast. I mean running, tie flying so he could get there and take that vote. Bob Corker and I also did not care for each other all that much until we finally, had a man-to-man talk at his place. I mean, just literally, we got into it one time in the studio and we pulled off the show okay, but I mean, it got ugly. And I'm telling you right now, I would love to see Corker run. And I think he will. I think he will. His career, people always get it confused. They think that he was one of Jack Lupton's guys, and he came into his money. Not so. He was a self-made man. We got Sam coming in. He's got an update of some kind. Oh, by the way, he updated me. Somebody updated me earlier, said that David Carnes did get the greens and the black eyed peas, and he liked them. I don't know.
Or is he producing a spot?
Oh, I don't know. I thought he was wanting to jump in and tell us something. But I got the total. I'm now 100%. People who say they do not like greens, I can turn them.
Oh, I like greens, but what I had in there a while ago was wow,
good stuff.
Great.
Good stuff.
Anytime that you want to do that, I think he's just doing a spot.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe there was a breaking headline of some kind. I just want to make sure we didn't miss it.
Let me listen to our monitor really quick.
You do whatever you need to do. Harmonica? Is that what? No, he's reading something. Yeah. There you go. All right.
Sounds like a sport update.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought he had that urgent look on his face, man. I was going, oh my God, there's a meteorite heading our way. I don't know what you would do in that situation. But Corker's career, born in 1952, graduated from City High School, roomed up at UT with Jimmy Haslam, brother of Bill Haslam, governor of Tennessee. 25, started Bencor Construction Company and built shopping centers and restaurants all around the place, and then founded the Chattanooga Neighborhood Enterprise. And I mean, he was not handed anything. He took matters into his own hands, and he's a self-made man. And I just think he's done a fine job. I think he has been the adult in the room. And I appreciate that phone call that he gave us the very first week I was back on the air, and hope to get him when he's back in town, which will be very shortly, to get him in the studio for a full hour. Caller, good morning to you.
Hey, Jeff, people under 40 can't really, truly appreciate what you and I grew up with, the space program. It was,
oh my gosh.
And when you hear it, it brings back great memories. Think about this. The speed of light is 186,000 miles a second.
Yes.
It takes 8 minutes from the light of the sun to reach Earth. So when you're being warmed, that was transmitted 8 minutes ago from the sun. That is amazing.
And of course, we don't really know how many of the stars in our most familiar constellations are even still there. Now when
they could be gone.
Well, yeah, when the replacement for the Hubble, what are we calling? Is it deep zoom? I think, and when it's going to make the Hubble look like a magnifying glass, and you're literally looking back in time. You're looking back in time, and maybe we'll get a clear idea. Yes,
we were promised jetpacks, and you and I and our generation, we'd be on Mars and flying cars. You know what? Nothing's changed in 100 years. We're still using phones. We're still driving cars. And we're still watching TV.
Some of us are, yeah. And watching not just TV, dumb TV. Let's just be honest.
And by the way, the reason why we have this mess is because men are in control. Let the men build the shiny, fancy,
building a better
and then just let the women control it, and we'll be fine.
This caller clearly had a meeting of the minds at his home on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And I agree with you 100%. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, here we go. This is the sound we should have been hearing by now. Now, they actually do have jetpacks now that seem to be fairly operational for somebody with limited intelligence and skill. It still takes some smarts. I thought the whole coolest thing about this was the way that the whole, car folds up into the briefcase.
Yes.
That's the real, and Judy was hot too.
Was it high school?
Yeah, well, of course. And what's she waiting for? Money.
That's
the way to go.
So nothing's going to change in the future. She's going to the mall.
To the shopping center. That Spatially Sprocket Company. Yeah, there you go. All right. Funky ass hump day. Jetsons don't really fit into that, do they? But we'll go to a break here in just a second. 800-8949, 800-8949. And it just, the whole funk thing, it all emerged from seeing Shaka Khan be the Grand Marshal of the Rose Bowl Parade, and just went back and picked up that Rufus tune, Tell Me Something Good, and I said, that's something to do on a Wednesday. Now, here's a band. I saw this tour live and convinced my friends to go with me to see the Talking Heads when they were touring with Remain in Light. And Jonathan Demme made the second best rock documentary of all time, Stop Making Sense. And even though David Byrne is a weird man, remarkably talented, you don't normally think of funky. But man, the Talking Heads for a few albums, working with Brian Eno, laid down some serious funky stuff. Bernie Worrell from Parliament Funkadelic on keyboards helped a lot. But they just built this concert, one musician after another, built the set literally while it was going on. That's brilliant stuff. And his philosophy is summed up in this song. And I agree with it. It has to do with it.
I'm the dude. That or his dudeness, Duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. 3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Pratt Land and Development filed a lawsuit against the city council after what it calls illegal zoning that made its property unusable. The lawsuit names specifically Chip Henderson, accusing him and other defendants of grossly overstepping their authority. They demand that the zoning be reset to where it was before. Authorities say Edward J. McCone, a former Catholic priest assigned to the Chattanooga area, died in prison. He reportedly had a pattern of abuse involving as many as 30 boys over many years, starting in the 1970s. He served various parishes around the state, including Chattanooga and Nashville. The Chattanooga Police Department's increased patrols end today as the holiday season comes to a close. The CPD, along with the THP, were present in force on our roadways for the holiday season. Part of the reason for that is October was one of the deadliest months ever for Chattanooga drivers. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
92.7 Nuga Radio.
Oh, it can happen to anyone. Flat tire, overheated engine, or just a clackety-clack, and now you're on the side of the road. No worries, because Doug Yates Towing and Recovery is there 24 hours a day for you. That's right, 24-hour-a-day emergency roadside assistance. And you don't have to accept who your insurance company or your road assistance provider sends you. At Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, we want you off the road as safely and soon as possible. So they'll be there in a jiffy. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery with 24-hour emergency roadside service. Call 800-407-2371. That's 800-407-2371. Online, yatesrecord.com. That's yatesrecord.com. On Facebook at Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, LLC. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery. We don't want your arms and legs, just your toes. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery is a Nuga Radio 92.7 First Responder Friday sponsor. To our first responders, Doug Yates Towing and Recovery says thank you.
What can Trade Bank do for my business?
Sign up for Trade Bank for two reasons. One is to get new customers, and two, to save cash by purchasing merchandise and services at your wholesale cost.
How will this help my business generate new customers?
You become a Trade Bank member, we will take your merchandise or services, whatever you sell, convert it into trade dollars, and then you can turn around and buy image building and advertising through our system.
Can you help me with my unused inventory?
Don't let unused inventory go to waste. We can promote all your unused inventory. We can sell it. We don't charge for posting and selling on our website. We sell a lot of merchandise through our system. It's one of the features that Trade Bank has. We can move that merchandise for you and get you something of value.
How do people contact you?
I'm Jürgen Moose with Trade Bank, and reach us at 423-877-2202. The website is tradebank.com.
What's that contact info again?
423-877-2202. Tradebank.com.
Good morning, Vietnam! Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Is that me or does that sound like an Elvis Presley movie?
Bubbles on a woman's hips. Bubbles and it swivels her butts. Bubbles on a woman's hips. Bubbles and it bounces and hops. You're gonna ride. You're gonna ride.
Whenever I'm asked, I say it's all year. People's Home Equity, sponsoring Fred's show. Their website, chatmortgage.com, chat with 2 T's, mortgage.com, sponsoring for the show Monday through Friday, whenever I make it in Monday through Friday. Appreciate that. NMLS 66247. I have no idea what that disclaimer means. I just know it has to be read. I have no idea. I don't know if our signal would get cut off, if they would lose their mortgaging license. I don't want to cause anybody any trouble in the new year right off the bat. Jeff Styles, your host, and here with Jason the Argonaut. And we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about a few little news items. But again, you know, during the holiday season, I've done this for so long. I'm telling you, everybody's out of sync. And most people are probably heading back to work today, but not everybody. Kids are not going to school today. And as long as there is the great big wrench thrown into our community's mechanics, spanner in the gears, you know, sort of thing, that is where that comes from, by the way. Monkey wrenching something. When somebody would just take a monkey wrench and throw it into the gears of the machine to stop it. It's also where the word sabotage comes from. The wooden shoes that they actually did wear in Holland, they were called sabots. And the burgeoning union movement there, people would take their wooden shoes and throw it into the gears of the machine. Just a little word origin play for you here.
See,
for the heck of it.
We're full of a lot of stuff around here.
We are full of a lot of things. There's no doubt about it. I'm still dealing with the greens and the black eyed peas from yesterday. I'm running full. To put it that way. And
I think there was a fight that almost broke out over that in the break.
Good. That makes me feel good. RC2 Realty Solutions, Robin Ring. She is specializing in dealing with distressed properties, getting them off your hands and getting them back out on the market so you can get out from under them. Go to info@rc2realtysolutions.com. If you have one of those, Kelly Subaru at Riverfront and MLK, Tim Kelly and his whole staff down there, sales folks, service people, just a delight to work with. As a matter of fact, I did have a vehicle that just died right before I got the news that I was going to get this gig. And it coincided so tightly. It was like, wow, all right, I'm going to get a job. That's going to be great. I'm going to eventually get, to be able to pay some bills. And I go, how am I going to get there? I got no car. And I did end up getting a car from a friend. But they called me from the service department down there, and they said, man, you might have a chance, even though your car was not under warranty and there was no recall on it. I won't mention any names, brand names or anything like that. So, but they're actually fixing a lot of engines because they don't want to recall. there was clearly a problem with 1 year, and said that if you call them, you might very well be able to get your vehicle running again. Oh, no, it's certainly not going to hurt anything to ask.
No.
You know how much money they made off that? None, because they wouldn't be the ones doing it. It'd go back to an original dealer. It was a used car. So, I mean, they didn't have to tell me that. And I'll tell you how it works. You know, maybe I'll actually get my vehicle back. I'll still keep the one I'm driving. I like it. It does have a low spoiler, or whatever you call that thing. Not a spoiler. What is the thing at the front of the car that's made out of plastic that always hits the curb?
Scoop.
Whatever it is, it's too low. I mean, it's real low.
You have to go like sideways.
Tree roots, yeah.
You have
tree
to go
roots
sideways into,
Yeah, and it makes a terrible, terrible sound. I thought I'd take just some sort of buzz saw and just cut that thing. I don't know what purpose it serves any. I could care less about the way a vehicle looks. I just want, if I'm in trouble, if I turn the key and it doesn't start, and I've checked the gas, I'm done. I can open up the hood and stand there and stare at it, like most people do.
Scratch your head.
Yeah, and wait for somebody to come along and go, hey, you having some trouble? Yeah, do you know anything about cars? That's my plan A, B through Z.
Say a few cuss words.
Jeez Louise. I will say this, obviously I have told my story, and it will continue to be told, I'm sure, for some time, but had a altercation back in mid-June and ended up getting charged. All those charges were dropped and expunged, and I got all my property back from the police department. While I was down there, so I'm all good now. I got a job and everything's wonderful, but it was a pain. I'm not gonna lie to you now. And the amount of stuff that they kept was amazing to me. Now, I wasn't sure why some of it came into play, but I got the call the other day, and the folks down there at the Property Services Division, just the nicest people in the world. And they were literally apologetic over the time that it took. It took, I think, 4 visits all in all and get everything done, and just a tremendous amount of paperwork. And one of the reasons is, well, a couple of things that were in my backpack were firearms. I have a right to carry permit. I didn't use the firearms. Might have been one of the problems. But, they had to do a 50-state background check before I got them back. And I was just standing there last week when I actually did get my stuff back. And a guy came in, he was in front of me, and I was listening, trying not to just eavesdrop, but it's kind of a small room. And his vehicle had been stolen. And we were talking, that was kind of in the news over the last couple of weeks. Every time the temperature drops, and the legendary Luther Massengill used to do this every year, like, just routine, habit. He would warn people, do not leave your car running to warm it up and go back inside, because you're basically just begging for somebody to take it. As a matter of fact, you can look and you can see video now that we have security cameras everywhere, and somebody will leave their car running and go into a convenience store because they don't want it to be cold when they come back or something like this. And there are people working in teams taking vehicles and just blowing off with them. Well, they found the guy's vehicle and gave him his ID back and all the rest of the stuff that was in the car, and he was very thankful. And they said, you'll get the car back here in another day or so. And then they go, he said, I hope they find the AR-15 that was in the trunk, and it was gone. The people who took it probably didn't know him, didn't know that there was an AR-15 in the trunk, but it is America's most popular gun. It is, I am a very strong defender of Second Amendment rights, probably more gun than most people ever need. But then again, you don't know what's coming down the pike. You might have to really, truly do something drastic to defend yourself and your family at some point. I'm going to draw the line at bazookas or cute and colorful nuclear weapons for everybody on the block. But I mean, there are some people I know who would not draw the line there, but I was just looking here. And again, it kind of goes back to all the paperwork they had to do for me to get my firearms back. And I don't begrudge them that at all. 479 guns reported stolen in the city of Chattanooga, just the city of Chattanooga, in 2018. So 480 guns that were not locked up, put away, kept safe. And I guarantee, I don't care how many people warn me. I don't care how many Calvin Sneeds of this world, come on with some sort of, safety first thing. And I'm not going to lock my guns up that I keep for home protection in a safe and keep the ammunition in another safe. I don't have any toddlers roaming around my house. There's no toddlers coming over to my house that I know of anytime soon. And they still have to go through something to be able to they'd have to crawl up and, take them down off a rack. But still, if you have a firearm, you've got to make sure you keep your doors locked and your car locked and your house locked, because you're talking about if they're stealing from you, do you think that they're going to have any qualms about using that firearm at some point?
So you said you drew the line at the bazooka.
Personally, I would say yeah, or maybe rocket launcher. I'm not really sure that comes into play in a hunting or any kind of perspective that you could actually make a sensible argument for, even though I could probably argue either side of it. Why? Do you have one?
No, I don't. But there's a story.
You have a potato cannon.
I've got one though.
Yeah.
There's a story though that came out of Carter County, Tennessee, Elizabethton, that area, on New Year's Eve. Roan Mountain, Bridge Street. Several shots were fired at a house and a grenade that exploded. Three shots were fired into a residence.
Like in the Ron Burgundy movie, somebody literally showed up with a live grenade.
3 shots were fired into the residence. A grenade was thrown in the truck and exploded. The truck was on fire. The homeowner's father-in-law was ex-military. Someone in the area is subject to
So he. We don't know. It was just a drive-by grenade throw.
Not a lot of information's coming out of it.
How bizarre is that?
But when I saw that, I couldn't help but laugh.
I don't want something that could actually blow this room into smithereens held in my hand for any length of time. I like to play with fireworks and mortar shells and stuff like that. But I've got, a long fuse. I can get away. But the hand grenades, I don't know how long you got when you pull that pin out. I guess it differs. But it would kill all of us. If it went off right here, it would kill all of us. And I just don't want that. I have to depend on my arm. And my arm's not what it used to be. I know I was a pitcher.
Just how pissed off do you have to be at somebody to throw a grenade at their truck?
Mildly. They weren't in it. You got to give them credit for that. At least they waited for the truck to be empty. Now, we did have a shooting the other day before yesterday, I believe. And they're looking for the truck. I think was it in Atlanta. They've got the surveillance camera video of the truck, and they shot the kid, poor little girl. And that had to be targeted. Had to be targeted. Now, I don't think they were going after the 7-year-old, but somebody in that car knew somebody in that truck, because they continued to shoot and continued to shoot and continued to shoot. And you know what? If they catch the person and they're stupid enough to still have that weapon on them, and ballistics, of course, would be a dead lock at that point. And that's what I'm talking about. Do you think that they went out and bought that legally? Without it. Folks, just use some common sense. Just be careful. Be careful out there. Be careful. With your vehicles, there's just more and more people driving crazier and crazier all the time now. And the gun crimes are skyrocketing. I'm glad we got through New Year's Eve okay. If you do end up getting injured, you can always talk to Warren Griffin. Give them a call at 265-HURT here in Chattanooga, down in Dalton, 706-529-HURT. And as we started off this morning with a very funky song from Dr. Hook, this is the one that made him famous. And Ray Sawyer, the lead singer, well, the guy with the husky voice, him, he died over the course of the weekend. And they were a much better band than most people would give them credit for.
Rolling Stone. Wanna see my picture on the cover. Wanna buy my copies for my mother.
Now, didn't they actually get their picture, but it was like a cartoon?
Yes.
Wasn't the actual photo?
It was a what do you call the cartoonists that make the caricatures? It was a caricature.
I got a freaky old lady named a Cocaine Kitty who embroiders on my jeans. I got my poor old gray-haired daddy driving my limousine.
Now it's all designed to blow our minds, but our minds won't really be blown. Like the blow that'll get you when you get your picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
I'm the dude. That or his dudeness, Duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Are you looking to buy a home? You go online and search, or you ride through the areas you want to move to, looking for time stands still when you see it. You know, that home. But you spend all that time. You build up all that excitement to find out that you only qualify for... Maybe you have a few things on your credit that keeps you from... things that you could take care of. You know what you should do. Call the mortgage professionals at People's Home Equity. They specialize in... They help home buyers go from... to... People's Home Equity is a great place to start the home buying process. 591-9801. You need more than less. People's Home Equity, 591-9801.
Call for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. This is not a commitment to lend. NMLS number 66247. Tennessee number 117278136. Georgia number 16020. Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee. Equal housing.
Warren and Griffin, a personal injury law firm, gives you this guarantee. It's a challenge, actually. If you have a car wreck and you do not meet with either John Mark or C Mark, they will not charge you an attorney fee and will pay you $500. Accept the Warren and Griffin Local Law Firm Challenge.
Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree. Call 423